Welcome into the latest episode of the Five on the Floor podcast on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm Ethan Skolnick, and as always, our episode today is brought to you by the attorneys at Seltzer Mayberg. The attorneys at Seltzer Mayberg, you can find them at onecalllegal.com or call 1-855-5000-LAW. Seltzer Mayberg handles cases including but not limited to car accidents, slip and falls, and traffic tickets. They've got a special if you just mentioned 5 Reasons, and they've got a new 15,000 square foot office that opens on I-95 in North Miami. We're actually working out of that office because you can come say hello to while you come say hello to them. They'll handle cases from all over the state, not just South Florida. Call now with 24/7 service for a free consultation. That's onecalllegal.com, 1-855-5000-LAW. All right, Ethan Skolnick here with Alf Sidney, and we're coming to you on Sunday morning. This is free agency day. I recommend you check out my latest column on 5reasonsports.com about Pat Riley and sort of the fight for one last shot and relevance and why I think he has to make the Jimmy Butler move if he can. We're going to talk about that and also everything else that's going on Twitter. We're trying to get this out very quickly because we know things are going to change very quickly today. So, Alf, let's just start here. Any surprise for you that the Jimmy Butler thing has gotten so hot again?
No surprise because we've seen this coming. The surprise to me is that the Heat are the first meeting he's taking, that it's going to happen in Miami where the other meetings are happening in LA. I feel that's a really good sign that he's coming to your team. He's making that trip just to hear the pitch. I mean, because he could have Pat fly out, he could have Spo fly out, but he's made a point to be in Miami. He's been in Miami for a few days now. And he's here, and I think it's easier for these guys to make these pitch when they have these guys in the building, man. And you're right on the bay, you're looking at Mickey's yacht. I mean, it's a hard pitch to say no to. It's a lot easier to say it, if you're in LA somewhere in a conference room.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I thought that does matter. And I had some people on Twitter asking me, is it a bad sign that he's meeting with the Heat first? If you go through the history of these things, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make any difference. There are a lot of first meetings that are because that's where the person really wants to be. And there's a lot of first meetings because they're just getting it out of the way because it's a favor to their agent or somebody else. And so I just wouldn't read that much into that stuff. I think what you're looking at here from this meeting perspective, and then we'll get into whether or not it makes sense and how it makes sense, is, I wrote about Pat Riley, but a lot of this is about Erik Spoelstra, to be honest. If you go back and look at what happened during the Gordon Hayward and Kevin Durant pitches, Hayward and Durant, from all accounts, were most impressed by Spoelstra's presentation about how he would use them. For Durant, he came up with this whole program on how he would increase his efficiency the same way that the Heat did with LeBron. I know that he connected with Hayward in a very real way, and Spo is capable of doing that in those settings. And so, although it's Riley, it's Battier, it's obviously Andy, has to make the money work. It's Mickey, it's Nick. I really think that in this particular case, and I'm sure Zoe will be involved in some way also, but it's a lot about Erik because Erik, what they have to sell Jimmy Butler on is they have to sell Jimmy Butler that it's better to be a co-lead guy than it is to be a third wheel. And if he's in Philadelphia with the youth of those two players, even with the force of his personality, he's going to be the third wheel. If he goes to Houston, which I hear he does not want to go to, okay, now I've talked to people in Houston. He has friends in Houston. He has background in Houston. He's never claimed Houston as his home. He's never said he really liked the city. I don't really think that Houston is a real – I don't think it's –
Those personalities, man, I can't see those personalities meshing at all.
Well, I don't either. You already have a problem with the two of them. Right. You already have a problem with the two of them, according to, our buddy Vinny Goodwill at Yahoo. And now, it's not even Harden for me so much. It's Harden on the floor, but it's Chris Paul off the floor. Like, I know the whole banana boat thing, and LeBron loves him, and Dwayne loves him, and Carmelo loves him. Nobody else
never had to play with him.
Right. Nobody else seems to love him. Anthony Davis seems to love him, right? But definitely DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin didn't love him. And, both those guys can be difficult in their own way, but and in Houston, it hasn't really worked with Harden. I just don't think – there's a lot of players around the league that don't like him. Steph doesn't like him. It doesn't seem like Lillard likes him very much. Like, I don't get the sense he's a really popular guy. And he's also – it's not just he's not a popular guy. He's a declining player who's not a popular guy. So,
declining player, and he takes up a huge part of your cap, right?
Right.
So,
right.
He goes down with another half a year injury or more. And then, okay, you decide to move on from him in another year. You can't. You
Right.
can't get off of that contract.
And
So
he's chirping in your ear, telling you what to do. Like
yeah, it's like, dude, you can't even get on the floor. Who are you talking to? Like,
right.
That's why I don't see. I mean, well, listen, if the money's there, they can make it happen. You know, we've seen stranger things. But I want to go back to what you were saying about Spo, because I said this on Twitter today. I said these meetings aren't about Riley anymore.
No,
they're about Spoelstra. And just like you were saying, how Kevin Durant was super impressed. Gordon Hayward was super impressed. It feels like now in today's game, these guys want to know. They don't care about the rings on the table. I don't think they care about their jersey hanging in a locker or banners around the arena. I think they want to sit in front of a TV. I think they want to see some video, and they want to be told, how are you going to make me better, and how are you going to maximize my potential? Like, these guys want to learn from Eric Spoelstra. How are you going to do for me what you did for LeBron James, right? It's not the big show and all this stuff, all this free agency stuff. I think all that's out the window. These guys want to know how they can win. And what Spoelstra needs to explain to Jimmy and somehow get him to like you said, to sign on to being a co-leading man is that, hey, Riley and Andy have to tell them to plan for the future, how they're going to bring in other players. But Spo needs to tell them, okay, on the floor, this is what we're going to do. We're going to extend your career. We're going to get you the numbers you want, and we're going to make you the best player possible. And it's like, you remember when LaMarcus Aldridge went to the Lakers a couple of years ago,
mm-hmm.
and he's like, they had no game plan.
Yeah, they had no plan.
Yeah, they're showing him videos and showing him this and that and glitz and glamour. But what's the game plan? How are you going to make me better on the floor? That's what these guys want to hear about now.
Yeah, he was more impressed with Riley telling him he could give him a mid-level exception for 1 year.
And then the Lakers
pick. Was for the Lakers giving him a max. I think it's really three-pronged. I agree with you. I think the most important person right now is Spo, to tell him how he's going to be used. And look, he's had 9 months to plan this. Like, he's had the length of a pregnancy term. Like, I mean, this has been going on since September, October. Like, so there's no Spo's going to be prepared. Like, he's had nothing to do the last 6 weeks other than be with his wife and his baby. Like, and
then walk Tyler Herro around,
around
the arena.
So, I mean, they've been planning for this. No question about that. But to me, there's also two other people. Obviously, I think Riley is actually fourth in a way now, because I think it's Spo. I think it's Andy, can you make the money work, which I think he can. And then I think it's Mickey/Nick. Okay, are you going to spend? Like, because I think players want to know that too. Like, if we build this thing, are you going to spend what it takes to get the next guys? Now, Mickey has, for the most part, done that. You know my feelings about some decisions that were made during the Big Three era. I think that when you have a team like that, you pay whatever it takes, right? Like,
yeah.
And we can say, well, Mike Miller was done in 2 years. The year after, though, in Memphis, he played 82 games and shot 45% from three. Joel Anthony may not have been a core piece, but that angered the team. So I think that a decision has to be made clear from ownership. Look, we're tired of being in the middle. Okay, we will spend. We didn't want to spend last year, so we dumped Rodney McGruder on the last day, and I understand the reasoning for that. And so we got rid of Ellington, and we had to get rid of the Tyler money to give ourselves more flexibility. So we did those kind of things. But if we have a team, we'll spend. He has to sell that. But it starts for me with Spo. It starts for me with a re-energized Spo. Spo has wanted this player. I have heard for a while that Spo has wanted this player more than Pat wanted this player. All right. They need a player, and now let's transition to whether or not it makes sense. They need a player, in my view, with edge right now. They need somebody. I'm calling Jimmy Butler. Maybe he's not a superstar, but he's the starter star. He's the star who gets you the other star potentially. And I know there are people who are going to say, well, nobody's going to want to play with Jimmy, because a lot of guys didn't want to play with Jimmy. Let's see what Jimmy does in this system. Let's see what Jimmy does as a lead guy, bringing along whoever it is, whether it's.
I also think that's BS. I think that's BS that guys don't want to play with Jimmy, because you still hear the rumors about guys wanting Butler to come to the Clippers or go to the Nets. Like, I think it's BS. I think you need strong personalities to deal with Jimmy. people secure in, I don't think Andrew Wiggins and some of those young guys on the Timberwolves were very secure. I feel like the Sixers were able to, those guys know, Embiid and Simmons know their stature with the team. So it didn't seem like a problem in Philly. I know there were some problems, but not to the extent that they were in either Chicago or Minnesota. I think Jimmy just wants to win. And as long as he's around guys who want to win, and if you look at the makeup of the Heat right now, it's a bunch of guys that want to win and work hard. So I think it'll be fine.
I don't. If you look at again, I don't think Josh is going to be here. But if you look at the way that Josh and Justice and Bam and DJJ took to Dwayne, I don't know why they wouldn't take to Jimmy in a similar way. As long as Jimmy is putting it out there, and there's no question he shouldn't. And let's just be honest. And I'm Dwayne Wade homer number one. Jimmy Butler's a better player at this stage than Dwayne Wade was last year, right?
Oh yeah.
So the reality is that they're going to see Jimmy do it on the court. Now, do I have concerns? We've addressed these on previous pods. Do I have concerns about the salary down the road? Yes. Do I have concerns about the miles with Tibbs? Yes. Do I have concerns about the three-point shooting, which I think is something he's going to need as he ages, and he's just simply not that good at it? Yes. Okay. All of those are legitimate. But the Heat are not a position now. Beggars can't be choosers, and I don't know that they're quite beggars. This is not the star I would necessarily pick to restart this thing, but they need a star. And I wrote this in the column again, and you and I did this exercise. If you go down to 30 teams right now, you will not find another team in the league, okay, that is in a worse position in one respect, a player with top-end potential. There is go to Atlanta. They have players with top-end potential. Memphis has players with top-end potential. The Knicks have a player with top-end potential and the potential to get more, although I think they're going to pretty much strike out and end up overpaying middling guys again. But look.
Terry Rozier
is a perfect example, right? Tobias Harris would be a perfect example.
Yeah, they're going to get Tobias Harris and Terry Rozier to max contract.
And that's right. Well, they won't max Rozier, but Rozier and how many point guards has the Knicks gone through in the last 3-4 years, and they're going to end up settling on Terry Rozier, who's regressed. But the Heat don't have. There are 29 teams with a higher end, top end player than the Heat, and you can't operate like that in free agency because. Players. We talk about players want to know how they're going to be used. Players want to know who they're playing with.
Look who's recruiting for the Heat right now.
Dwayne Wade.
Look who's recruiting. It's still Dwayne. Dwayne.
And he can now because 3 of those, arcane, tampering rules now. So they've unleashed him, or he's unleashed himself, and that's great. But you can't have Dwayne Wade being your recruiter forever, man. Like eventually that fades, and they know that. So you bring in Jimmy to say, this is how we're going to operate. And the other thing, you've talked about this, it's seamless from a culture standpoint. They can keep the culture thing, all right, that they love so much, but at least they have a player with higher upside than Rodney Magruder to sort of enforce, and Tyler Johnson to enforce that culture, all right? And so stars in the modern NBA respond to other stars, okay? It's not about, like you said, rings on the table and all that stuff. It's about what has this guy done in the league? What can this coach maybe help me do to get to that level, and what can me and this guy do together? That's what it's about. And so for me, Pat has to sell something. He has to sell a vision. But I do think, and I wrote about Pat because it's the most convenient place to go, but I really think it's about a lot of ways about Spoelstra. Now let's get into some of the specifics of this, and then after a break, we'll kind of get into some of the other things that are going on in free agency. It is the people I've spoken to who are connected to Philadelphia have told me that the player that they like with the Heat that they think fits them is Josh Richardson. And not Justice. And that makes sense because Justice, I don't think, can play with Ben Simmons.
Justice is too much like Ben Simmons.
He's too much like Ben. Josh is a perfect fit as your third or fourth guy who's going to defend, who's not going to demand the ball, who can play off of the ball. You've talked about how you want him doing that more often. He really fits nicely next to Ben Simmons. He'll be a very effective player.
The numbers, I think it was Christian Hernandez from Heat Beat. The numbers for him on isolation and pick and roll ball handler are terrible. But off screens, spot up, and cuts to the basket, his numbers are off the charts. Right. So it just backs up what I think we said in the last podcast, that Josh Richardson's he needs to be off the ball, right? And on playing with Ben Simmons, honestly, you put Josh Richardson on that team, I think they're dangerous. I really do. Like, I almost don't even want them to get Josh. because I hate Philadelphia. You
That's
know
right.
I hate the Sixers. I almost don't want them to have – I don't want to look at Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, and Embiid on the other side of the floor, and let's say they keep Tobias Harris or they pick somebody else up. That is a good lineup. Like, they fit very well together.
They do, and with Justice, they don't. And I've heard that this is the guy that they want. So the question becomes, how do you make the money match? And then also, what is it? What's the second piece that they want? Now, I've heard they're not interested in Dragic. So, and which surprised me a little bit because I think Dragic would also be a good fit off of Simmons.
But there's reports that they do want Dragic.
Yeah, not the people I've talked to. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I think Goran could end up with a third team. I know that our lefty life, Greg Sylvander, has kind of put Dallas out there, and then there were some reports out of Dallas that confirmed that they could be the third team. I think Dallas is sort of the easy place to go for a lot of reasons. I mean, one, they can absorb it, but also obviously they have his former international teammate from Slovenia in Doncic there, and he loves Luka. And he was talking. I mean, I had him on a radio show with him talking about how Luka was going to be the next star in the NBA. And they have a very close, sort of big brother, little brother relationship. So I get it, and they desperately need a point guard. So Goran, for a lot of reasons, I mean, playing with Porzingis and Luka, they might be the best offensive team in the league, actually. So I just think that that makes a lot of sense, and that's a possibility. But I guess to me, it's not really about where the pieces go for the Heat. It's about the pieces they give up, right? So if Josh is going to be the primary piece, I think all of this for Heat fans really comes down to, are you going to have to trade Bam or not? And, can you get away with trading Olynyk or Dragic, even if you don't give up another piece? And then, because if you give up, I think, that's the line for a lot of fans. I think if it's Josh and Bam, then you better have a plan to get rid of one of these other contracts like a Whiteside or a James Johnson and bring in another piece, because otherwise,
well, yeah, exactly.
Out of your future.
Yeah, if you're losing two of the kids, right? And you know my position on this. I'm okay with standing firm and just letting some of these contracts play out and preparing yourself for 2021. But I'm also okay with the Jimmy Butler signing. Like if you feel like Jimmy's the right guy, you feel like I really want to know what's the next step after Jimmy, because like you said, Jimmy puts you a player away from being a player away. And I've always felt that about Jimmy. But the problem is I don't see a path to doing another move before 2021. So it's 2 years of Jimmy's prime where he's just surrounded by, young players. And it's going to be a fun team to watch, but I don't really see championship potential. But if you're going to give up Josh and Bam, like you're gonna have some explaining to do to the fan base. And to being completely honest, like the fan base, and me included, is going to be apoplectic. Like, what are you doing? Because what are you now? What are you bringing Jimmy into? You're bringing Jimmy, Justice, and Hassan. We're not. I don't think it's going to be. That's not a huge selling point.
Well, it's all a leverage thing right now. So I think I don't see why they would have to, honestly. Because look, I just don't view Houston as a credible threat. I never have, and I do less now. I don't see them as a real fit. Now, the one team I've heard about, and I know the Clippers have come up, but the other team I've heard about is that the Lakers could get involved in this, but they seem to be going after D'Angelo Russell, and that would basically take up the rest of their cap space. So if you take them off of the table, you're looking at the Clippers, you're looking at Houston, and you're looking at him just basically either re-signing with Philadelphia if they give him the 5th year, which may be some of what this is about, right? But I don't think they're going to. I wouldn't say 100% no, but I don't think they're going to with everything else that they have committed. And so, and they have to commit with Simmons' deal coming up. And so the other thing is Philadelphia just deciding we'll take nothing for him. But I don't see that as credible either.
Why? I don't understand. Why would they do that? Like,
well, I mean, it just might make sense for them to just clear the space. I mean, particularly if they keep Tobias and then just sort of stay flexible. I understand it. Elton Brand's a new GM, and I talked about this yesterday. It's just crazy how things come around. Pat Riley made an offer sheet to Elton Brand in 2003. Didn't get him, but there was a plan after the plan, and after Sterling matched the Brand offer sheet, he gave one to Lamar Odom. Donald Sterling didn't match that one, the Clippers owner. And Odom ended up here, and Odom became Shaq. Shaq wins the title with Wade for Riley, and now Riley is trying to get Wade's guy by negotiating with Elton Brand. So it's just crazy how long Pat's been around and how all this stuff happens.
Do you think a pick is going to have to be involved?
Yes, I do. I do think a pick's going to have to be involved.
Yeah, to me, like a first-round pick is going with this deal, and that's why if you're losing a first-round pick, you cannot lose two of the kids.
Right, I agree. I think to me, it's two of those three things, right? It's two of the kids and no pick, or one kid and one pick, and I think one kid and one pick makes more sense. And we keep referring to Josh Richardson as a kid. I mean, he's going to be 26 this season, so and the prime of his career.
Josh is one of the reason I'm okay with giving up Josh. It's not that I think Josh is a bad player. I think Josh is a very good player. I think Josh next to Justice, with Bam on the floor, is very good. I mean, their on-off numbers are great when the three of them are on the floor. But Josh, if your plan is having all this cap space in 2021, Josh is going to opt out and want a big contract.
Right.
So I don't know if Josh even fits into the plans after 2021.
Well, I think they're evaluating that. And also, is he a maxed out player? I mean, he played a lot of ball in college and he's 26. And I don't, I think his improvement last year, there was improvement, but a lot of his improvement was really just, reps and usage. It wasn't necessarily that certain parts of his game got that much better. And I think there's places he can get better around the margins at this point. But I don't know that there's an upside leap like we might see from Justice and certainly from Bam. To me, that makes it a little different. And we're going to talk about the rest of free agency, other things that might happen today when we come back. But first, I want to tell you about our newest sponsor. It's Magic City Casino. We're excited for The High. That's JAI at Magic City this summer. The High is putting a brand new spin on a classic Miami experience. They'll have unbeatable drink specials, a live DJ, indoor lawn game area, live highlight, and so much more, which includes us probably doing some podcasts from out there. Also, the guys from Ballscast and Five Rings Canes. The High is going to be Miami's newest hotspot on Friday and Saturday nights. Mark your calendars to live the high life starting on July 19th. And if you're going to drive there, we recommend you get a car from Doral Toyota, where you can find all of your favorite Toyota models, whether you're looking for a new, used, or certified pre-owned vehicle. Doral Toyota is located at 9775 Northwest 12th Street, just a few blocks from International and Dolphin Malls. If you experience the Doral difference, you'll know you get 4 years of complimentary maintenance and roadside assistance on all new vehicles. In-house financing is available for credit-related issues. If you mention 5 Reasons when you call 305-680-1129 or come into the dealership, you'll work directly with a dedicated manager, not a salesperson. Unlike other dealers, Doral Toyota prides itself on an honest and transparent buying process. That's Doral Toyota, DoralToyota.com, or stop in at 9775 Northwest 12th Street in Doral. All right, let's talk about some of the rest of free agency here, just beyond the Heat, Alf. So there's all this talk about how Kawhi and KD are going to choose a destination together now. If that's the case, it's not Toronto, right? So, right? So where is that? Is that the Clippers? Is that the Knicks? It looks like Kyrie's going to the Nets, so it's not there.
I think it's the Clippers. I really do. If those guys want to play together, I don't see it happening in New York. They've just proven themselves to be such a trash franchise. Like I was trying to think of a better word, but trash franchise is actually I think the most descriptive and the most on point. You see it time and time again. Nobody wants to play there.
Right.
They're gonna get, like we said, Tobias Harris and Terry Rozier. And honestly, maybe I'm gonna be wrong, and I wouldn't even mind being wrong because honestly, the Knicks being good is good for basketball, right?
It is. But
two
it's been
good
so
teams.
long, I don't even think we know what it looks like at this point.
Exactly. Like, what's the last? I mean, Latrell Sprewell. Like, what? I mean,
I
guess
in the finals in '99 under Van Gundy, which 20 years.
And then the next best team was the Melo and Amari Stoudemire teams that did nothing.
One round team, basically.
Yeah. But I want them to. I think they're going to go to the Clippers. But here's an issue. You're going to maybe have the 3 best teams in the league, or 7 of the biggest stars in the league, all in California.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's good for the league at all.
I agree.
That the 10 o'clock, 10:30 p.m. games on the East Coast, like it's not good for the league if there's that much concentration of talent in one state. That's why I don't mind if I like some of the Nets talk. I like the Knicks talk. I don't just for the sake of the league and for my sake as a basketball fan, I don't want to have to stay up to 10:30 to watch those guys play basketball.
No doubt. All right, let's do this rapid fire here because I got a couple minutes left. Just give me good fit, bad fit, real quick. Kyrie Irving to Brooklyn.
Good fit. Actually, you know what? They got a lot of young guys. It's another Celtic situation, but no, I think good fit. I think he's going to be happy there, happy in that city, happy in that arena. I think it's a good fit.
He's never happy. I'll just tell you that from covering.
Sorry.
But I do think it's a good fit, and he always wanted to be in New York, and that's where his dad's from, and I get it. Kemba Walker leaving Charlotte for Boston looks like
desperation move, bad fit. I don't see how they're better. I mean, I don't see how they're better with Kemba than they were with Kyrie. Bad fit.
D'Angelo Russell back to the Lakers potentially.
Good fit. I really do. I think it's a good fit. I wonder about that defense. I really think a guy that they need to make a play for, in my mind, is they need to convince D'Angelo Russell and Danny Green to split up that money.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's strong. They need a guy like Danny Green, 3-and-D. They need shooting.
Yep. And he's a pro. Like, he's not a guy you worry about. He gets himself ready. LeBron can't deal with kids anymore. It's just clear. Like
LeBron would love to play with a guy like Danny Green. Yep. Come on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Danny Green is a little like, in some ways, not quite the same player. A little like Shane.
Yep, I was going to say 3-and-D guy
in his approach. And so that will that'll go a long way. And also, last one, do we think Klay Thompson stays in Golden State?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's a done deal.
I think so too. I think they bring them back, and then we see what happens with Draymond in a year, who I think could be a real Heat target in a year.
I got a question for you. What about Boogie? Where's he go?
I think 2 years, maybe. Not max, but maybe close to max. Somebody takes a shot on him. But Boogie feels like a Knick to me. I don't know. I mean, he feels like right. It feels
the new Zach Randolph. Yeah.
It feels like, I know they like Mitchell Robinson, but he feels a little like a Knick to me. But I don't know. I mean, look, there were signs from Boogie at the end of the season that like it's still in there, but Achilles injuries, man, they take a long time to come back from. And then they don't even get into the attitude problems he had before. So not sure. All right, so we're gonna pod more as we go forward. We'll be monitoring the Jimmy Butler situation. I do recommend you follow at 5 Reasons Sports on Twitter and also 5reasonsports.com. I'll be posting stuff throughout the day as things happen. But I think, if I was to put a percentage on this, I say there's a 60% chance that Jimmy Butler is going to be with
that high.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, wow.
I do. Okay. I don't think they've come this far on this, knowing what they know. If they don't think they have
the flirtation has been too real for too long.
Both sides.
It's like, come on, seal the deal.
Yeah, both sides. Just get married already.
Yeah.
Hire a good divorce lawyer. All right, we'll talk to you soon.